Depending on who you ask, the reaction's different to the attacks in Chelsea and New Jersey. We're going to go through some of the choice reactions and then talk about them. First up, we're going to go to Corey Lewandowski, a CNN contributor and former Trump
Still being paid by the Trump campaign.
Still being paid and still on CNN. Here's what he had to say. He seems to be blaming illegal immigration for the attack.
Well, I think what it is it re-highlights the problems we have with our immigration system. What we know is that 40% of the people who are in the country illegally have overstayed their visas. And what we hear from the reports this morning is that this person is either potentially of Afghani descent
a naturalized citizen.
Well, but
that's not an overstaying visa.
Is that what the report is for this person who's committed potentially a terrorist attack in our country?
Yeah, but he's a naturalized citizen.
So you did. To be fair, I didn't do the reading.
Right.
And then he makes it very clear that he tries to connect Rahami to people who've overstayed their visas, though he is an American citizen, born in Afghanistan in 1988, came over, got his citizenship, not someone who fits into this category that Lewandowski is trying to put him in. Once he's exposed, here's his response as he tries to equivocate and just kick up dust.
He's not a refugee.
Did he come into the country legally? Was the proper work done? Look, the San Bernardino killer came in on a K-1 visa.
Right, but this is different. I mean, you're making a connection that we don't know yet.
There you go. So that's Corey Lewandowski's response.
The K-1 visa in San Bernardino was the wife, right?
I did not do the reading. But yeah, so that's his response, is to try to tie it to the people who
was the proper work done. He ran a chicken shop, man. The work was done. The proper work was done, and he either got mad because of the complaints and because he encouraged people to urinate around the neighborhood, and the neighborhood didn't like human urine around their neighborhood, and he thought singled out. Or he's entirely possible that he's sympathetic to ISIS, or both.
Can a Muslim criminal any longer just be a guy who's pissed about somebody pissing on his yard?
Like, don't get me. Like,
honestly.
If people came into my store at night and just wanted to use the bathroom, but I knew that those people were doing terrible things.
Well, hold on. They already paid you money.
Are they all customers?
No. They're all customers. They either bought chicken or bought drinks.
I'd get upset, but
what I'm saying, there are crazy people all over this country, and not very many of them, as they have you believe, that do terrible things,
yes.
right? But I'm asking a serious question. Can a Muslim person just be a nut who was pissed about the way his business was being treated?
It's weird to say. It's like that's the ideal. Is it doesn't matter, like where they came from.
Right. That's what we're striving for in this country.
Look, we're all ignoring like one of the big issues here that no one's talked about, which is, dude, we need public bathrooms in the United States.
It's true.
I mean, honestly,
I don't know if that's the big issue.
No, of course. I'm being facetious, but at the same time, dude, if you're going around this country and you have to use the restroom, you have to go into a store and buy a product, and maybe they'll let you use the bathroom.
Yeah.
Generally, they won't.
Here's a little tip for America, just in case you guys don't know this yet. Hotels.
Hotels are great.
Don't tell everybody that.
I know, but I actually hesitated to.
I know. Seriously, I was serious when I said don't tell everybody that.
You have to look nice to go into a hotel because they do profile you.
That's true.
As long as you kind of have a nice shirt on.
By the time they're profiling, you're already
say you got to leave. Okay.
Walk in with a purpose.
They don't just like run and pull you off the toilet like 3 Men and a Baby, where they're just like the kids, they're spraying everywhere. You know, they don't do that?
They don't do that, I don't think.
So that's one response. Another response comes from Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz made a statement saying Congress should act to prevent Americans who have traveled abroad from training from returning here, and to stop the flow of refugees from hotbeds of terrorism in the Middle East that President Obama is determined to bring to our country. We can't overcome our enemies by pretending they don't exist. This is what Ted Cruz thinks is the problem.
Nobody is pretending that they don't exist. It is almost impossible to get into the United States. Right? The screening process is extensive. It has always been extensive. It has never stopped being extensive. This guy got here. When did this guy get here? Born in Afghanistan in '88. This naturalized citizen. Do we know?
Enough to become a citizen. Like that's just ask anyone who's become a citizen how hard it is to do that.
Yeah. And the other thing, I mean, does Cruz have a point here when he says we should stop people who are going abroad to train from coming back in. Is that a thing, though? I mean,
here's the thing: it's like
if we know somebody's training, that's an alarm bell.
And what?
Yeah, I'm for that. You were training at a Al Qaeda training camp. Yeah. Oh, you know what? Can't come back. Sorry.
But then again, like if you want to catch them, that's the worst strategy. The strategy is come back. We'll just get to the airport.
There's that too.
We'll be there for you.
Right. Yeah.
Like that's the best way to do it.
Come on home. Yeah.
Yeah. It's very simple, and they're making it stupid. Hillary Clinton has a different reaction. She says,
sorry.
Cue the booze. There are millions of law-abiding, peaceful Muslim Americans. This is the kind of challenge that law enforcement can be and is prepared to address. Let's remember 9/11, because a lot of people are attributing this to refugees. They're trying to tie it to the refugee crisis, just similar to what Lewandowski did. These were not refugees who got into airplanes who attacked our city and our country. Sorry, she goes on. Let's not get diverted and distracted by the kind of campaign rhetoric we hear coming from the other side. So those are the responses from everybody.
Yeah, well, those are predictable and sort of sane responses from Clinton. I mean, that's true, is that the labeling of these people as because we opened our arms to Syrians, we've gone to pot here. That's not even close to being right. The people that have done a lot of these things have come here to do them and not been from here.
It's weird. Part of me is like, I hope that we prove that this had nothing, like this attack in New Jersey and New York had nothing to do with anything. Yeah. And so that when people like Donald Trump step forward and say, we called it, and then people like Corey Lewandowski and Ted Cruz who try to attribute it to refugees, that we can say, okay, so remember how you said you called it? You didn't. You were wrong.
Right. That's kind of what I mean too. Can you just be a Muslim who commits a horrendous crime without being an enemy of the state?
Yeah, and then the counter argument is like, we shouldn't let white Europeans come in here because then their descendants shoot up schools.
Right.
You know, and serial kill in weird ways. Like that's I think that might be your argument. I mean, as percentage of overall population, it's a small percentage that end up being a problem. And at least Obama's approach is part of a strategy. Like, and people who seek to increase give us your tithes, your poor, your huddled masses. Like, that's part of a strategy that says, listen, we don't want to alienate the millions of law-abiding people. We want to, yes, of course. I mean, I will agree with Donald Trump. I do want to find the bad people. And the only thing that I want to hold Hillary to is this is the kind of challenge that law enforcement can be and is prepared to address. Like, that's when you can start going point by point through how these people are vetted and actually find out where the strengths and weaknesses are.
Yeah.
And are they going through the cracks? And if they're not, then point out exactly what the test was. I mean, yeah, you're right. Someone who has a established business here, and it seems like it's tied to just some weird municipal gripe, then this is not the problem. This is a problem, but it's not the problem you're trying to say it is.
You power the Young Turks. We do this all through membership. tytnetwork.com/join. Let's build a media that we can believe in.